Zutara makes no fucking sense.
Who Katara really should have been with? Zuko.
Zutara is the better ATLA ship.
Zutara is the best ship that never happened.
This video will not only explain why Zutara doesn't work, but will fundamentally change how you view Avatar: The Last Airbender forever. I'm going to break down the argument for Zutara, why these points fall apart, and how actively believing in Zutara damages your understanding and appreciation for the show. All of this is based on countless hours of research from an Avatar: The Last Airbender superfan who has been making pretty successful videos on Avatar: The Last Airbender. So without further ado, please like and subscribe, comment down below your favorite Avatar character, 3 points if it's Sokka, and let's flame yo Hotman. So the arguments for Zutara, which is a ship that states that Katara and Zuko should have ended up together instead of Katara and Aang, can basically be boiled down to 3 main points. 1. Katara acts more as a motherly big sis to Aang, whereas with Zuko, they behave as equals, i.e. Zuko is more mature.
Aang gave baby brother type vibes.
2. There just is more chemistry between Zuko and Katara than between Aang and Katara.
Katara and Zuko complement each other so well.
And 3. Zutara makes the story of Avatar better by fixing plot holes, thus resulting in Aang being a better character.
I love Zutara because Zutara haunts the narrative.
The first point is the most difficult to answer, but once done, you will never view Avatar the same way again. Katara acts more as a motherly big sis to Aang, whereas with Zuko, they behave as equals, i.e. Zuko is more mature. Now, is this true? On the surface, definitely. I mean, a brief glance through the Avatar series and you find time after time where Katara is the responsible one. She's the boring one. There's even a full episode dedicated to her motherly persona clashing with the group's rebellious kid vibe.
We have enough money. You need to stop this. I'll stop when I want to stop and not when you tell me.
I mean, Aang is just 12. Katara is 14, but Zuko is 16, so of course he's more mature and a better partner for Katara. Plus, who would want a baby as their partner? Someone who they constantly have to cuddle over every little thing, someone who they always support but get none in return. It would be exhausting. It would be infuriating. It would also be a completely inaccurate description of the relationship between Aang and Katara, which literally falls apart from the very first episode in the show. When Katara and Sokka find Aang in the ice, Aang is readily supportive of Katara, to the point when he finds out Katara is a waterbender in need of training, Aang is the one who proposed the idea of going to the Northern Water Tribe to find her a master.
What about the North Pole? There's another water tribe up there, right? Maybe they have waterbenders who could teach you.
Literally the other side of the world, which establishes the main plotline for the entirety of season 1. And then when they find her a waterbending master who refuses to train Katara because she's a girl, Aang again shows support for Katara by refusing to be trained by him.
If you won't teach Katara, then...
Then what?
Then I won't learn from you.
I'm not saying Aang is perfect. He can snap at people, he can be naive, he can be forward in expressing his feelings. But Aang has always shown considerable support and care for Katara. Heck, in the literal second episode of the show, he gave himself up to the Fire Nation so they wouldn't destroy Katara's village.
If I go with you, will you promise to leave everyone alone?
This is not the face of someone who is constantly being babied by Katara. But this isn't even half the problems with the statements Katara always acts as a mother towards Aang. Because now the question becomes, is Aang just incapable of handling shit by himself? Or what tiny situations cause Aang to rely on Katara for emotional support? And the first time we see Katara console Aang was when they visited the Southern Air Temple. Now, picture this. You've been gone for 100 years, so naturally, you're concerned for the safety of all your friends and family, so you rush back home. And all you see are the dead remains of everybody you've ever loved, and the knowledge that your entire people have been genocided, and you are all that's left. None of us can imagine that kind of pain. So when Aang justifiably flips out into the Avatar state, Katara and Sokka are there to console him. telling him he is not alone. And even though he lost his last family, he's found a new one in them.
Sokka and I, we're your family now.
Now for the question. What is so bad about this? Why is Aang having an intense emotional reaction to a traumatic event and being supported through it now disqualify him from romantic love? The reactions both Aang and Katara undergone are natural and human, and frankly, it would be a bit concerning if either didn't react the way they did. And this is why I say Zutara damages your understanding and appreciation of the show, because supporters of that ship view scenes like this as Aang taking advantage of Katara, the eldest daughter dealing with everyone else's shit, instead of what it actually is, a beautiful scene where two friends, Katara and Sokka, are there for their friend in his time of need. Now, the Zutara fans may come back with, the issue isn't just this scene, it's throughout the series. Aang burdens Katara with all his petty problems. Okay then, does Aang use Katara as an emotional soundboard for any small issue? Cause the only other time we really see this dynamic take place was in season 2 when Aang loses Appa. Keep in mind, Appa is not Aang's pet. He's more like his brother. The bond between an airbender and a sky bison is for life. Appa is Aang's last living connection to airbending culture. So of course when he finds out Appa has not just been kidnapped, but sold, he gets angry. And of course, Katara being the closest to Aang is the one to help settle him down. Like Aang is not throwing his toys out of the pram over every little thing. You are not immature for being angry and needing support because your entire race has been killed and your brother has been kidnapped. Similarly, you're not an emotional punching bag for supporting someone through these events. The way some Zutara fans speak about Aang, you would think he's BoJack Horseman, having a traumatic past and making it everyone else's problem. But that's not the case. Aang doesn't let his trauma affect the relationships of those around him. In fact, for the vast majority of the show, Aang is the most joyful, happy person you'll ever meet. But you know who does let the trauma destroy their relationships? Zuko, the man that the final part of this statement says is more mature than Aang. So I pose the question, is Zuko more mature than Aang? Zuko, the man that had to be coddled and corrected for 2.5 seasons by Uncle Iroh. Zuko, the man that burned down Kyoshi Island. Zuko, the man that betrayed Katara after she's one of the few that showed genuine concern over him, is who we are saying is more mature than Aang? No, but we mean post-redemption arc Zuko, the Zutara shippers say, which leads to the most frustrating and hypocritical aspects of their arguments. They compare post-redemption arc Zuko, season 3 Zuko to season 1 Aang. Like, of course, the character that has actually gone through character development is more mature than the character that has not gone through it yet. Duh. But what's worse is that they mischaracterize season 1 Aang as being worse than he actually was. But let's be fair, and I'll rephrase the question. Is post-character development Zuko more mature than post-character development Aang? The Zutara shippers will point to season 3 episode 16, The Southern Raiders, as the biggest example of Zuko's maturity and the compatibility of Katara and Zuko. This is the episode where Zuko and Katara hunt down with the intention of killing the man who murdered Katara's mother. See, Zuko supported Katara when she needed revenge. She didn't need to always be good and perfect around Zuko. She could be bad and mean, and Aang was just not mature enough to handle those justified negative emotions. Except that's not just what happens. Aang understands and allows her to go on this trip. Aang's only concern was to not kill that man out of revenge, because doing so would destroy Katara's soul.
Don't try to stop us. I wasn't planning to. This is a journey you need to take. You need to face this man. But when you do, please don't choose revenge. Let your anger out, and then let it go.
And honestly, was Aang not correct? Is this the version of Katara you enjoy seeing? Katara hurt and angry, Katara using blood bending, a technique she hates so much she cried after learning it.
Congratulations, Katara. You're a bloodbender.
effectively swore off using it again and worked to get banned in Republic City. This is not who Zutara is. Zuko doesn't know this, but Aang does. That's why he gave her that advice, but he also knew Zutara had to come to that decision by herself. And this is how you know how mature Aang is. The fact that when Zutara and Zuko came back from that trip, after Zutara spared that man, Zuko himself admitted that Aang's advice was correct.
You were right about what Zutara needed. Violence wasn't the answer.
So how can we say Zuko is more mature than Aang when Zuko himself admitted Aang is more mature than him? That puts to bed the first and the longest point. But now we will face the strongest argument for Zutara. And honestly, this will shake your outlook of Avatar to the very core. Zuko and Zutara just have better chemistry than Zutara and Aang. From my research, this outlook stems from basically 2 episodes and the scene where Zuko takes a lightning bolt for Zutara. A quick note on that last one. This is not the great example of love you think it is. Zuko knew he had the ability to withstand and redirect lightning. I mean, he was literally going bar for bar with his own dad a couple episodes prior. So of course he knew that it's probably better for me to tank this hit than you, because I could probably survive this shit, you can't. Now on to the episodes. Those 2 episodes being the Southern Raiders, which we've already discussed, and the season 2 finale, the Crossroads of Destiny. That scene in particular where Zuko and Zutara are stuck in that crystal cave together. And now, even I have to admit, as a pretty big Zutara hater, that scene is chef's kiss. I mean, the intimacy, the delicateness, the writing, it's just brilliant.
I don't know if it would work, but
But all these things being considered, can we all finally admit that what we're seeing is not chemistry there, but in fact trauma bonding? The fact that they both lost their mothers to this war is the only real basis for their relationship. It's what sets off the Crystal Cave scene.
The Fire Nation took my mother away from me.
I'm sorry. That's something we have in common.
It's the motivating factor behind the Southern Raiders.
I know who killed your mother, and I'm going to help you find him.
There's no real chemistry or relationship between the two. What we are seeing is instead vulnerability, when 2 people share their grief and the pain it brings with each other. And though vulnerability is an aspect of chemistry, it is not the entire thing. And we know this because Zutara can't really manifest itself outside of this handful of scenes. To the point that when the topic of Zutara is literally displayed right in front of Zuko and Zutara during the Fire Nation play, this is how they react.
I've had eyes for you since the day you first captured me.
And the idea of trauma bonding not leading to love has already been shown in Avatar, when the exact same situation happens between Zutara and Jet.
Fire Nation killed my parents. I was only 8 years old. That day changed me forever.
Sokka and I lost our mother to the Fire Nation.
I'm so sorry, Zutara.
When they both share the pain of losing their parents to this war, which brings them closer. But as the story progresses, you see it's not love being built, but the manipulation of Zutara by Jet. So the answer is no. Zuko and Zutara don't have good chemistry. Simply sharing a similar pain does not mean they're meant to be. Yes, the vulnerability it brings can bring about a tension similar to chemistry, but you can't actually build a functioning relationship on that. You know, there needs to be similar interests shared. There needs to be a daily understanding. There's none of that, nada. Okay then, if Zuko and Zutara don't have good chemistry, where is the chemistry between Aang and Zutara? This is my favorite part. It's been right in front of you all along. The friends to lovers trope is characterized by slow build-up, where characters take the time to know each other and feelings slowly develop. But make no mistake, if you watch the show of Avatar: The Last Airbender, it is clear to see that Aang and Zutara have been liking each other. From the time Zutara and Aang were stuck in the tunnels and Zutara proposed they kissed.
Well, what if we kissed?
The time Aang saw Zutara in makeup for the first time.
Wow, you look beautiful.
The time Aang saw Zutara in Fire Nation clothes for the first time.
How do I look?
the time Zutara got jealous seeing Aang dance with another girl.
Wow, they look pretty good together.
If that's what you like.
I mean, look at this scene where Aang and Zutara dance with one another and try tell me they don't have good chemistry.
Aang, everyone's watching. Don't worry about them. It's just you and me right now.
Nothing Zuko and Zutara has ever done has matched this in terms of chemistry. And this is not just being brought about through struggle, but just getting to know and like each other. And this is why I go so hard against Zutara, because to be a Zutara fan is to close your eyes to all these moments, to miss the magic of two kids falling in love. What a tragedy. But you can throw away the entire second point because basically it doesn't really matter. Why? Because there's a secret reason why people believe there's more chemistry between Zuko and Zutara than between Aang and Zutara. That reason being, people think Zuko looks better than Aang. They could never see a bald kid like Aang being a suitor for Zutara when an emo prince is right there. And the reason I know this is due to the reactions of seeing adult Aang in the Avatar movie. Suddenly he makes sense. Suddenly, okay. Listen, who you find more attractive is a matter of personal opinion. I don't really care. But when you start dressing up superficial preferences as tangible arguments and you start shading characters, that's where I have an issue. The final point for Zutara is the most crazy, and this will seal the deal that Zutara makes no sense whatsoever. Zutara makes the Avatar story better by fixing plot holes, resulting in Aang being a better character. This point comes from one of the biggest critiques to Avatar The Last Airbender, how Aang masters the Avatar state at the end of the show. See, in season 2, Aang was told by a guru he needs to let go of all earthly attachment if he wants to master the Avatar state. Aang couldn't do this because this would mean let go of Zutara.
Why would I let go of Zutara? I love her.
But it didn't matter anyway because a back massage from a rock during the final battle gave him master control. Zutara fans point to this plot hole and say if Aang just lets go of Zutara, allowing her to be with Zuko, he could then master the Avatar state in a way that's more story compliant and more compelling. But does this idea really hold? No, not really. This argument relies on a misunderstanding of the show and creates two huge future problems. See, when the guru asked Aang to let go of all earthly attachments, he wasn't saying that Aang should stop liking Zutara or not pursue her. He was saying that expectation, that eagerness Aang has for Zutara for them to be together needs to be dropped in order for him to master the Avatar state. And if you think about it, of course it makes sense. For Aang to master this higher plane of cosmic power, he needs to let go of the childish mindset that because he likes Zutara, they have to be an item. But let's play through for a moment. Aang lets go of Zutara, Zuko and Zutara get together. Is the story better now? I don't think so, for those aforementioned two reasons. One, if Zuko and Zutara got together, that would make Zutara fire lady. Now, do we think a supremacist, genocidal society like the Fire Nation would take kindly to a waterbender being at the head of their country? Fuck no. She's literally coming from a culture that's directly opposed to theirs. It would be the Meghan Markle Prince Harry situation times a billion. And we know this because in the comics, they're already trying to kill Zuko for the changes he's trying to implement in the nation, even though Zuko is the rightful heir to the country. How much more Zutara? Zutara would never know peace being in a relationship with Zuko unless, like Prince Harry, Zuko walked away from the throne. Which we know would never happen because one, Zuko is Fire Nation to his core. I mean, he literally fought with Aang in the comics to protect Fire Nation colonies in the Earth Kingdom. And two, if Zuko ever walked away from the throne, Azula's crazy ass would be right there to kickstart the 100-Year War again. Now you may say, this isn't enough reason to not back Zutara. I would look at you crazy for saying that. But it's not the only way Zutara fucks with the plot of the story. See, if Aang gave up all earthly attachments in the way the Zutara theory suggests, that would be the airbenders fucked permanently. There would be no new airbenders born because Aang is on some secluded higher plane shit the story of Korra could never be told because it just couldn't work without the airbenders, and the world would be permanently out of balance forever. So to conclude, Zutara is not a bad ship because people can't let others live or are annoying. It's a bad ship because it mischaracterizes Zuko, Aang, and Katara and distorts the impact on the series. It overemphasizes the chemistry between Zuko and Katara while downplaying the obvious romantic interest between Aang and Katara. And finally, it destroys the story of Avatar: The Last Airbender in its aftermath. I never made this video to dunk on anybody. I just want to showcase that if you put your bias to the side and watch the show as intended, you will get a greater viewing experience. That's all I have to say, guys. Please like and subscribe. Love y'all.